What if I told you that 95% of your daily decisions aren't actually your decisions at all? What if most of your thoughts, reactions, and choices are being generated by a sophisticated program running in the background of your mind? A program you never agreed to install. Welcome back. In our last transmission, we explored how reality mirrors your consciousness. Today, we're going deeper into something that will shock you. The discovery that most human beings are living inside a mental simulation so convincing, they don't even know they're trapped. This isn't science fiction. This is the neuroscience of human conditioning meeting the physics of reality creation, and understanding this will literally set you free. The Matrix isn't a movie metaphor. It's a precise description of how unconscious programming hijacks your natural quantum creative abilities and keeps you generating the same limited reality over and over again. But here's the revolutionary part. Once you can see the code, you can rewrite it. Let me introduce you to your brain's operating system. Neuroscientist Dr. Joe Dispenza's research shows that by age 35, 95% of your personality is completely memorized. That means 95% of your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are running on autopilot. But it gets more disturbing. These automated patterns aren't random. They're the result of what psychologists call social conditioning and what I call matrix programming. The programming layers. Cultural software society's beliefs about what's possible. Family firmware inherited trauma and limitation patterns. Educational operating system, academic and institutional programming. Media malware, fear-based news and entertainment conditioning. Economic viruses, scarcity and competition programming. Each layer reinforces the others, creating what systems theorists call a closed-loop system. The simulation becomes self-perpetuating. Here's the quantum physics part. When your consciousness operates from these programmed patterns, you're not accessing your natural creative potential. Instead, you're broadcasting the same limited frequencies over and over, which means reality keeps mirroring back the same limited experiences. The matrix mechanics. Unconscious pattern, predictable thoughts. Predictable thoughts, familiar emotions. Familiar emotions, automatic behaviors. Automatic behaviors, same results. Same results, reinforced pattern. You're trapped in what complexity scientists call an attractor pattern, a self-reinforcing loop that keeps pulling your consciousness back into familiar limitations. Stanford neuroscientist Dr. Robert Sapolsky spent decades studying how environmental conditioning shapes neural pathways. His research proves that what we call free will is largely an illusion when we're operating from unconscious programming. But here's where it gets hopeful. He also discovered that neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself, remains active throughout your entire life. You can literally change your neural programming at any age. The quantum coherence studies. Dr. Roland McCready at the HeartMath Institute measured what happens when people break out of their conditioned patterns. Using advanced EEG and HRV technology, his team discovered that when someone achieves heart-brain coherence, their neural firing patterns shift from chaotic to ordered. In this coherent state, the prefrontal cortex, your brain's CEO, comes online and can override the limbic system's automatic programming. You literally gain access to higher-order thinking and creative problem-solving abilities. The epigenetic revolution. Dr. Bruce Lipton's research at Stanford proved that your genes are not your destiny. Environmental signals, including your thoughts and beliefs, control gene expression through epigenetic mechanisms. This means the limiting beliefs programmed into your mental matrix actually alter your biology, keeping you physically trapped in limitation patterns. But change the mental programming, and you change your genetic expression. The morphic prison. Rupert Sheldrake's morphic field theory reveals how collective programming works. Humanity's collective limiting beliefs create what he calls morphic fields, information structures that make certain thoughts and behaviors more probable. When you think a limiting thought, you're not just accessing your personal programming, you're tapping into humanity's collective limitation matrix. This is why breaking free requires more than individual effort. It requires quantum field mastery. Here's how you break out of the matrix, not through wishful thinking, but through precise neurological and quantum field interventions. Protocol 1. The Pattern Recognition Scan. For 1 week, carry a notebook. Every time you have an automatic reaction, anger, fear, judgment, limiting thought, write it down. Don't try to change anything yet, just become aware of the programming running in the background. You'll be shocked at how much of your mental activity is just repetitive code execution. This awareness alone begins to create what neuroscientists call metacognitive awareness, the ability to observe your own mental processes. Protocol 2. The Source Code Investigation. For each pattern you identify, trace it back to its origin. Ask, where did I first learn this belief? Who programmed this response into me? Often, you'll discover that your most limiting patterns were installed before age 7, when your brain was in a highly suggestible theta state. These childhood programs are still running your adult life. Protocol 3. The Neural Pathway Interrupt. When you catch yourself running old programming, immediately engage what I call the pattern break. This is a specific neurofeedback technique. Stop the automatic behavior mid-execution. Take 3 deep breaths while placing attention in your heart. Ask, if I weren't running this program, how would I respond? Generate a different emotional state through heart-focused breathing. Choose a new response from this elevated state. You're literally creating new neural pathways while allowing old ones to weaken through lack of use. Protocol 4. The Coherence Override. This is the quantum field component. Twice daily, achieve heart-brain coherence for at least 10 minutes. In this state, your brain waves synchronize with your heart rhythm, creating a unified field of consciousness that can override subconscious programming. While in coherence, consciously choose new beliefs, new emotional responses, new behavioral patterns. You're literally reprogramming your personal reality matrix in real time. Protocol 5. The Field Immunity Protocol. Since collective morphic fields continuously broadcast limitation programming, you need to develop what I call field immunity. This means creating a coherent personal field strong enough to resist collective programming. Practice maintaining your chosen emotional and mental states regardless of external circumstances. When the news tries to program fear, when society promotes scarcity, when others project their limitations, you maintain your coherent field state. This isn't about becoming disconnected from others. It's about becoming immune to unconscious programming while remaining open to genuine connection and love. During my near-death experience, something extraordinary happened. I could see the matrix directly, not as a metaphor, but as actual information structures surrounding each person in that operating room. What I saw looked like geometric patterns made of light, complex, swirling codes that were generating each person's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors in real time. It was like watching the source code of human consciousness in action. But here's what was disturbing. Most of these patterns weren't unique to each individual. They were shared templates, collective programs that multiple people were running simultaneously. The surgeon was running medical authority programming. The nurses were running institutional hierarchy programming. My family members were running helpless victim programming. These weren't their authentic responses. They were cultural software executing automatically. And my own matrix? It was a nightmare of inherited trauma, social conditioning, and self-limitation programs all running simultaneously. I could see exactly how these patterns had created every limitation, every struggle, every moment of suffering in my life. But then something incredible happened. In that expanded state of consciousness, I gained what computer programmers call root access to my own operating system. I could see the code, and more importantly, I could rewrite it. I spent what felt like hours in that quantum space, identifying limiting programs and replacing them with empowering ones. I deleted unworthiness.exe and installed divine_value.exe. I uninstalled scarcity_mindset.zip and downloaded infinite_abundance.exe. When I returned to my body, I brought back this ability to see and modify the matrix in real time. Every day became an opportunity to catch old programming and consciously choose new responses. The results were dramatic. Within months, patterns that had dominated my life for decades simply disappeared. Not through years of therapy or struggle, but through direct reprogramming at the source code level. Here's what most people don't understand. The matrix of limited thinking isn't just a personal prison. It's a species-wide containment system that's preventing human beings from accessing our full evolutionary potential. When enough individuals break out of their personal matrix programming, we create what systems theorists call a cascade effect, a rapid spread of liberation that can free entire populations from collective limitation patterns. The evidence is mounting. Global meditation studies showing measurable reality changes. Rapid spread of consciousness-raising information through digital networks. Increasing numbers reporting spontaneous awakening experiences. Scientific validation of phenomena previously considered impossible. We're witnessing the early stages of what I call the great debugging, humanity's collective awakening to its own programming and the systematic removal of limitation viruses from our species' operating system. The new human emerging. Those who master matrix exit protocols don't just improve their personal lives, they become nodes of liberation in the collective field. Their coherent consciousness creates freedom fields that make it easier for others to break out of their own programming. We're not just healing ourselves, we're participating in the conscious evolution of human consciousness itself. Each person who exits the matrix makes it easier for the next person to break free. This is how species-level transformation happens, not through force or revolution, but through quantum field shifts that propagate through morphic resonance. Before you close this transmission, I want you to try something. Right now, catch yourself running a piece of automatic programming. Maybe it's a limiting thought about your capabilities, a familiar emotional reaction, or an unconscious behavior pattern. Now, instead of just running the program, pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, is this really my response, or am I just executing someone else's code? In that moment of awareness, you're already beginning to exit the matrix. The simulation of limited thinking only has power over you when you're unconscious of it. The moment you can see the code, you can rewrite it. In our next transmission, we're going to explore how your attention literally changes the structure of matter itself, the observer effect that makes you a quantum reality creator. But first, practice the 5 exit protocols I shared today. Recognize the patterns. Investigate the source code. Interrupt the programming. Override with coherence. Develop field immunity. Remember, the matrix is not your master. It's just software running on the hardware of your consciousness. and you have root access to your own operating system. The question isn't whether you can break free. The question is, are you ready to take responsibility for your own mental sovereignty? Until next time, remember, you're not just a user in the system, you're the programmer of your own reality.